Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us remotely, we have Adam Ross. He's the CEO of Heyday to discuss some of the tough choices small businesses are making to fight COVID-19. Adam, it's great to have you with us. Thanks so much for making the time in a challenging environment. And Heyday's mission is to make people be their best selves and to make every day a heyday. That has to be especially challenging considering what we're dealing with going through the COVID-19 crisis.
Thanks for having me, Jill. It absolutely is. I think obviously there's the reality right now across the country where there's government mandated shutdowns, so our doors aren't open. That said, I think one of our larger capability differences here is we've got a team of experts, and I think how they can engage with clients in this time electronically. I think we're all using Zoom and FaceTime and engaging differently. So I think we can still be supportive where we can, and I think help address certain concerns electronically. Obviously, there's no substitute for treating the skin in person, but doing what we can where we can.
All right, and let's go into your first slide here. And the businesses that are facing these challenges, the first one, of course, is coping with layoffs. And my heart goes out to all of your employees. I have been through that during the financial crisis. I know what that's like. I know how scary that is. How do you cope with layoffs as a small business owner? And then, what does that mean for funding concerns?
I think, well, for us, we looked at it twofold. I think there are a number of our team members in the shops, Jill, that we did lay off. And that was a really difficult decision. But I think we're in this unique period of time where doing that actually provided them greater financial security via government assistance. And I think given we just really don't have any sense for how long we're going to be closed, I think providing that sense of financial comfort to our team was really, really important. I think as it relates to, other team members, and we furloughed, a number of team members that, had the skills and the roles that deal with the shops. And I think that for us is a temporary pause. But I think as a small business, what you need to do in this environment is really, really ruthlessly look at your cost structure and figure out where you cut costs, where you pause, where you extend, where you move things around. So you're preserving as much cash flow as possible. So you're in a position to reopen and do it the right way and make sure you're coming through the other side better and stronger. And I think despite the temporary period that clearly will be incredibly challenging for a number of reasons, as an employer, you ultimately want to provide sustainability and longer term employment. So I think part of the comfort, despite the difficult decisions that we're making right now, is what we're doing is actually setting Heyday up to be far more of an enduring and sustainable company for the long term. And if you can provide employment, and for all our team that we did lay off, we want to welcome them back with open arms when it comes to reopening. The hope is that this is a temporary road bump over the course of a longer term career.
Yeah, and that's encouraging to hear. And we always like to finish these off on a positive note. So let's talk about surviving as a small business, getting back on track post-COVID-19. What does that look like? Is it going to be instantaneous? Is it a process? How are you going to be managing employee and consumer expectations?
Yeah, it's a great question, Jill. I think, we'll obviously have a point of view. And I mean, for us, labor is our largest cost. So I think we've got some flexibility to scale up and down accordingly. I think the news in the coming weeks is going to help inform, I think, how aggressive we want to be staffing coming out of the gate. I think we just have a big question mark right now in terms of how quickly clients are going to be coming back, and what that looks like. I think it's prudent to be a little more cautious in the opening few months. I think we've all got certain points of view on potentially what categories may be impacted more so than others. I personally believe that investment in self-care and investment in oneself, and strangely, some of these one-to-one services are going to be in higher demand. I think people still want to make an investment in themselves. But again, I think the market's going to bear that out. So I think as we know more, one thing that we are doing is communicating with our team early and often, And I think when you do that, you're also doing the right thing by them. So even if things are a little slower once we do reopen, then that may be more of a sequence phase to increasing hours. And I think if we see demand spike sooner, then we're in a position to react and staff up a little sooner. But I think you generally win with your team by managing expectations and not over promising and under delivering, certainly when it comes to their financial security, and you want them to plan appropriately.
Andrew, I would agree that level of transparency is so paramount to employees and for that level of comfort. Thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to catching up with you when we get out on the other side here.
Likewise, and look forward to getting you into Heyday.
Yep, thank you. And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.